Hey guys, I have a quick word of encouragement to share with you all. I really do hope that this word blesses someone. This directly ties into the last video that I just made about our new beginnings, restoration, and destiny helpers. Just the other night, a few nights ago, I was just having a moment. As we all do, I was having a moment before the Lord. I was in prayer, crying out, um, just crying, just letting everything that had been bottled up just out. This is a season for myself and for a lot of us of healing and restoration. And so during this period, there are things that we're still dealing with, right? That we are still hopeful and faithful that God is going to bring us through this season. But like I say in my previous videos, we need to get in a habit of giving our burdens over to the Lord, okay, so that he can lift these things off of us, so we can break through to the other side. And I started out, just kind of crying out, emotional, but then anyone who is an intercessor knows on here, there's this utterance that the Spirit gives us. Something will rise up in you. And I just started declaring all of the promises that the Lord has shown me through my dreams, through just a word that he has given me. I just, something rose up in me. And as I was just praying in the Spirit, I saw a boat on water. It just flashed very quickly. And that night when I went to sleep, the Lord woke me up. I woke up at 4:16 a.m. Okay. And I looked up in Strong's what 4:16, the number 4:16, and in the Greek, it means to drive by the wind. It means animzo. I can't say that properly. But it means to drive by the wind, and its word origin is from a word anemos. And that word means properly a gust of air, wind, figuratively something with gusting storm-like force, like someone bent in a particular direction. So the Lord led me to Mark chapter 6. And just some context, this is where Jesus was performing miracles before his disciples and before the peoples. Okay. And right before verse or Mark chapter 6, we were learning about the two fish and the loaves of bread, how Jesus did a miracle. Like he lifted the bread and the fish up to the heavens, and he was able to feed 5,000. So after that, Jesus went away and he went to the mountain to pray, but he ordered his disciples to get in the boat and just continue on. Okay. And so as they were continuing on, there was wind that began to oppose them. Okay. There was wind that began to come against them. And so of course it's wind on a boat. Of course that's a frightening thing, right? Where that would make someone feel afraid. And at this time in the hour, it's the fourth watch of the hour. Okay, I'm going to read this passage for you in just a moment. The Lord woke me up at the fourth watch of the hour. Okay, so it was dark, and there's winds that are assailing you. There's winds that are opposing against you. I'm going to start at verse 46. And when he sent them away, he departed into a mountain to pray. And when even was come, the ship was in the midst of the sea, and he alone on the land. And he saw them toiling and rowing, for the wind was contrary unto them. And about the fourth watch of the night he cometh unto them, walking upon the sea, and would have passed by them. And when they saw him walking upon the sea, they supposed it had been a spirit, and cried out. This is the King James Version. Other translations will say a ghost, right? They thought that Jesus was a ghost, so they became afraid. For they all saw him and were troubled. And immediately he talked with them and saith unto them, Be of good cheer. It is I. Be not afraid. And he went up unto the ship and he went unto them into the ship, and the wind ceased. And they were sore amazed in themselves beyond measure and wondered. for they considered not the miracle of the loaves, for their heart was hardened. So not only did Jesus just perform a miracle of turning two fish and loaves of bread into feeding 5,000 people, but he sent his disciples to advance forward, right? God has allowed all of us, he's given us a word that we are moving forward in this hour, right? The help is on the way. Destiny helpers are on the way. We are getting new beginnings. We're getting new lives. We have new callings, purpose. There is new beginnings for us in the body of Christ. But there's still a win. There's still something in your life. For me personally, to put my business out there, right? My enemies, okay? People assailing you. I talked about in that dream, there was somebody taking a picture of me and they were laughing at me. And literally, it was a prophetic dream. So literally, one of my enemies, and when I'm talking about my enemies, in my case, I'm talking about my ex and his family, okay? Literally was just laughing at, saw me and just started laughing at me, right? To me, it's just confirmation that the prophetic dreams that the Lord has given me is coming to pass. I'm living out that prophecy, and I believe many of you are too. Glory be to God, right? But at the same time, there are still things, we're still human beings, right? We are still going through our process. You know, for some of us, like myself, you know, I'm a mother to a toddler. You know, I work a full-time job. To say the least, I'm tired, you know. I'm tired often, right? You know, just from everything that I'm dealing with, everything that I have to give myself over to, right? So sometimes there are things in your life that, you know, like I said, I was giving my burdens over to the Lord. I'm just crying out to God and just releasing in this hour because, you know, we want to be in God's rest. We want to enter into God's rest. We want to be restored. So the only way to do that is to let these things out. And so I saw that boat in the spirit. And God is so good. He woke me up at that time and led me to this passage when I woke up so that I could get this word for myself so that I can impart it onto you all. Okay. Verse 48, and he saw them toiling and rowing, for the wind was contrary unto them. So God sees all the work that you have put in, that you are putting in. He sees you in your wilderness season. He sees that you're in that boat, right? That Jesus told you to go ahead, right? You're taking off. You're doing what the Lord have you to do, okay? But the wind was contrary to them. And about fourth watch of the night, he cometh unto them, walking upon the sea, and would have passed them by. What's significant about fourth watch is that it's right before dawn. Okay, there's another translation. I believe it's the NIV version. It says right before dawn, right? Instead of saying fourth watch, it says right before dawn, right? The disciples are in the boat, okay? They're toiling and the winds are against them. It's dark outside, right, at 4 a.m. They cannot see. That's many of us. We are working hard. We are toiling hard in this wilderness season. And it's dark. We cannot see. We are in our new beginnings, but it's still dark, right? We still cannot see. We're still walking by faith. We're still holding on to prophetic words. We are still holding on to that last dream, that last vision. We're still believing for God to do what he said he would do. And the winds are contrary. The winds are assailing us. They're coming up against us. Our enemies are trying to get their last kicks and punches in, trying to, there's things resisting us. Sometimes your car might break down. That's saying if it's not one thing, it's another. But what's significant about fourth watch is it's right before dawn. It's dark outside, but the sun is about to shine in that hour, in the fourth watch. You understand me? Right where you are, right in that place of where you feel like you've been toiling, you've been struggling, that wilderness place, that dry place, that place where you're tired. Jesus is coming out on that water to get in that boat with you. Jesus is performing a miracle. I believe this for so many of us, that right now in this season, in this hour, Jesus brought the sunshine, right? Jesus is performing a miracle. You are going to see a miracle be birthed out of that place of where you've been rowing, out of that place where you've been working so hard and you haven't really seen a result. You haven't produced much. For some of you, it may be business, right? It might be a business venture that the Lord placed on your heart. You're going into business for yourself. For others of you, it may be, just you're starting over. You're getting a clean slate. The Lord has placed on your heart to move somewhere. You've gone somewhere far. You've left home. And it's the circumstances are not what you have thought they would be, right? You were excited about new beginnings, but you realize it's still kind of dark here. When is something going to take off? You've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it feels like there's been this resistance. The Bible says that when he climbed into the boat with them, the winds ceased. What God is getting ready to do in our lives is going to produce a miracle. God is going to produce a miracle in our lives. Right in the place of where you have been struggling. Right in the place of where you have been waiting to see the sun shine. Okay, it's been dark. It's been a dry season. Just have faith. Continue to focus on Jesus. I have faith that not only myself, but for a lot of you, y'all are going to have a testimony. We are about to have a testimony. I heard somebody saying, I will testify in July. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. This is a month of new beginnings. This is a month. 7 is the number of completion. We are about to see. There's a song that goes, look and see, take a look and see what God has done. I think it's called Count Your Blessings, right? I think so. We are about to see God do a new thing in our lives. We're about to see why it seems that God is quiet at times, what he's been doing behind the scenes. I hope this message encouraged you all.